The first time I saw the clown, I thought I was dreaming. It was early morning, the kind of quiet that settles in after a long, sleepless night. I was walking the usual route to the corner store, the one that always felt like a shortcut, even though it wasn't. The sun was just beginning to rise, casting long shadows across the cracked pavement. I was alone, as usual, and the silence was thick, like it had been waiting for me to notice it. Then I saw it, a clown, standing at the edge of the neighborhood, near the old abandoned house that had been boarded up for years. It wasn't moving, just standing there, the sun catching the red and white paint in a way that made it almost glow. I froze, my breath catching in my throat. The clown was wearing a torn nose, its makeup smeared and faded, and its eyes, those eyes were too still, too empty. I blinked, thinking I was seeing things. Maybe it was a prank, or maybe I'd been up too late. I told myself that. I turned away, but the feeling stayed. The clown didn't move, and I didn't look back. That night, I dreamed of laughing faces, of red balloons floating down from the sky, and of a voice that didn't belong to anyone. The next day I told myself it was just a dream. But the clown was still there, waiting at the edge of the neighborhood, and I couldn't shake the feeling that it was watching me. The next morning I told myself it was just a dream. But the clown was still there, waiting at the edge of the neighborhood, and I couldn't shake the feeling that it was watching me. I tried to convince myself it was just a trick of the light, a faded painting on a weathered fence. But the more I tried to ignore it, the more it seemed to be there. I started noticing it during my daily routines, when I was walking to work, when I was picking up groceries, when I was even just sitting in my car waiting for the traffic to clear. It was always the same spot, near the old abandoned house, standing still, unmoving, like it had been waiting for me all along. I told myself it was just a coincidence, that I was imagining. But the more I tried to convince myself, the more I felt the weight of its presence pressing against my back, like a shadow that refused to lift. I started checking my car mirrors more often, half expecting to see its red and white face reflected back at me. I told myself it was just paranoia, that I was sleep-deprived and stressed from work. But the more I told myself that, the more I felt like I was being watched, like someone or something was always just out of sight, just beyond the edge of my vision. I started avoiding the route altogether, but the clown was always there, waiting like it had never left. I tried to talk to my neighbors, but they all said they hadn't seen anything. They laughed when I described the clown, as if I was joking. But I wasn't. I could feel it in my bones, in the way my breath caught when I passed that spot, in the way my heart raced when I thought I heard laughter in the distance, just out of reach. The clown was getting closer, I could feel it, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to run from it anymore. One day, I finally decided to confront it. I parked my car a few blocks away and walked the full route, keeping my eyes peeled, my ears open. I told myself I was just being cautious, but the moment I passed the old house, something shifted. I felt it in my chest, a tightness, like a hand squeezing my ribs. I turned around, expecting to see the clown standing there, but it wasn't. It was gone. Or maybe it had never been there at all. But then I noticed something else. My reflection in the store window, my own face, was smiling. Not the way I was smiling, but a wider, more sinister grin, like it was laughing at me. I blinked and it was gone, but the feeling stayed. I hurried home, my pulse pounding in my ears, my breath coming in short gasps. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept checking the hallway mirror, convinced I'd see it again, but it never came. Not until the next morning. I woke up to the sound of laughter. It wasn't coming from outside, it was coming from my bedroom. I froze, my heart slamming against my ribs. I turned my head just enough to see the corner of the room, and there it was. Its red nose, its white face, its wide, grinning mouth. It wasn't looking at me. It was looking at the door. I ran. I didn't stop running until I reached my car, slamming the door shut and locking it with trembling hands. I didn't look back, but I knew it was still there, watching, waiting. And this time it wasn't just following me. It was learning. And I wasn't sure if it was going to stop until it had me. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the dark, my back pressed against the cold metal of my car, the engine running, the headlights casting long, trembling shadows across the driveway. I kept checking the rearview mirror, half expecting to see something moving in the rear window. But there was nothing. Just the quiet of the suburban night, broken only by the occasional hum of a lawnmower or the distant wail of a siren. I told myself I was losing it, that the clown was just a figment of my imagination, a symptom of the stress, the sleepless nights, the guilt I'd buried so deep I'd forgotten it existed. But then I heard it again. Not laughter, a whisper, soft like a child's voice just on the edge of hearing. It came from the mirror. I turned my head, my neck stiff, my eyes locking onto the glass. My reflection was there, but it wasn't me. It was a clown. Its face was my own, but its eyes were hollow, its mouth stretched into a grin that didn't belong to me. It raised its hand, and I felt the same tightness in my chest, the same fear, the same sense of being watched. I tried to scream, but my throat closed. I tried to move, but my body wouldn't obey. And then it spoke. Not in words, but in a memory. A memory of the night I left my brother in the car. The night I didn't call for help. The night I let him die. It wasn't a clown, it was me. And I had been waiting for someone to see it all along. I tried to move, but I was already gone. The car door slammed. The engine died. And in the rearview mirror, the clown smiled. And I smiled back.